Alright, my friends, I thought you might be interested in my latest project. I've been looking for a bonsai that I can actually keep indoors. I've started several bonsai projects over the years, but eventually realized most of them are much happier living outside on the deck. After doing some research, I came across the golf ball plant, which is supposed to do well indoors, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Today, I'm taking it out of the nursery pot and moving it into the new bonsai container. First step is getting the pot prepared. These bonsai trays already have drainage holes built in, so I run the wire through the bottom. Later, those wires will help secure the tree in place and keep it stable while it establishes itself. With the pot ready, it's time to pull the plant out and take a look at the roots. I like to remove as much of the existing soil as I can without being too aggressive. The goal is to understand what I'm working with and see how the root structure is developing. Using a small rake, I carefully work through the root ball and loosen the soil. This gives me a better picture of what needs to stay and what can be trimmed back. Once I see the roots clearly, I decide how much to remove. This container is much smaller than the nursery pot, so some roots pruning is necessary. Ideally, I want a balance of roots, soil, and drainage material. This will give the tree plenty of room to grow while still allowing air and water to move freely. Next comes soil mix. I start with a layer of gravel for drainage, followed by bonsai soil. Then I position the tree and use the wires to secure it in place. This keeps the tree stable and prevents movement that could damage newly developed roots. Once everything is anchored down, I begin filling the container with soil, working it into all the gaps around the roots and gravel. I use my fingers and small tool to eliminate air pockets and make sure everything is packed evenly. Now comes my favorite part, the styling. I start by removing a few lower branches and clearing away excess growth. At this stage, I'm not trying to make major changes. I'm simply reviewing the structure that's already there, so I can see the tree's natural character. One thing I've learned with bonsais is you don't want to rush. A few cuts can completely change how the tree looks, so it's better to remove little by little and let the design develop naturally. As I study the tree, I realize some of the branches need to be repositioned. To do that, I wrap them with bonsai wire. The wire allows me to gently bend and guide the branches into place while helping them hold their new shape as they grow. This creative side of bonsai is what I enjoy the most. Every tree already has its own personality. My job is to simply work with what's there and bring out the best version. Some branches require heavier wiring, while others only need a light wrap. The smaller branches are easy to move and shape once the wire is applied. At this point, it's a lot of trial and error. I'll move a branch, set back, take another look and make another adjustment. Sometimes the first idea works, and sometimes it doesn't. It's all part of the process. The wiring gives me options and allows me to experiment until the tree starts to develop a natural flow. A few branches still aren't holding their position, so I add support wires between branches and down to the base of the tree. This helps everything stay where I want it, while the tree continues to grow. You end up removing more growth than you might expect during this process, but that's part of creating structure. Once the tree fills back in, these decisions help create a stronger silhouette and a much more balanced design. As I finish up, I add a little more soil, fill in any gaps, and make a few final adjustments. For now, the hard work is done. The tree is potted, wired, and headed in the direction I want. Now comes the waiting part, the true bonsai experience. We'll see how it responds over the next few months. But so far, I'm really happy with how this one is turning out. All right, my friends, thank you for joining me. See you on the next project.